Hey guys, welcome to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. Don't forget you can get my book, Streams of Income, for free at streamsofincomeradio.com, along with all the show notes. Every single episode that we've ever done is on demand there at streamsofincomeradio.com. So if you missed something or want to go back and listen to a guest or get a link or anything, that website, streamsofincomeradio.com, will be helpful to you. I am super excited about this guest. He's my friend, buddy, partner. We've partnered together on things. His name is Jason Miles. He has an awesome story, guys. He and his wife, Cinnamon, I'll let him get into it, but I want to tell you that if you're in a situation in your business where you are doing something that in order to make more money, you have to produce more, or maybe you're in a position where you can't really scale because you don't have any more time. Well, this is a great episode for you because Jason's going to talk about how they started on eBay, and I'll let him tell the story, but how they came to a point where they couldn't do anymore because they didn't have any more time. So what do you do with that? And the surprising decision that a lot of you might think, well, that was the wrong idea or the wrong thing to do. Well, clearly it was, and it worked out really well for them. And he's going to tell you why it worked out well, but why it might have been a struggle at the beginning. So Jason, thanks for coming on with me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And congratulations, by the way, on the
Thank
show.
you.
It's super cool.
This is really fun. It's been a blast. I've really enjoyed serving my audience in this way. Oh, guys, by the way, I should let you know he's a multiple time author. I'm not even going to know all the books probably. Pinterest Power, Instagram Power. You got a new book coming out about brand building that we can talk about, and I know there's a few
Yeah.
others that you've written. So, Jason, take us back. I guess just go back to, you can start wherever you want to start, but definitely cover your guys' business, how you were selling. And guys, a lot of people call him the doll clothes guy, even though he wasn't
Yeah.
the one that was making the clothes, but he kind of
Yeah.
gets known for that. And it's basically, it was his wife's thing, but they did it together, and now they built it up to something huge. So talk about, tell us your story.
Sure. Yeah. Well, my wife's name is Cinnamon, and her and I just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary.
Awesome.
So that's super
Congratulations.
fun. Yeah. Thank you. Um, we basically have been in nonprofit work or Christian ministry our whole lives. She was in Youth with a Mission before we got married, and then we got married, and I served at a charity called World Vision for 16 years.
Mhm.
And so we were really ministry and nonprofit focused. But in 2005, we made a real huge mistake in our life,
Mm.
and we were asked to move to Northern California for my work, to be the regional San Francisco Bay Area regional director for a charity. And
Mm.
we used a newfangled mortgage product called a NEGAM loan.
Oh,
Didn't know
no.
what that was,
Yes.
and trusted the mortgage broker, who was the son of one of my coworkers.
Mm.
And we found ourselves in a huge mess. And a lot of people have been there. And
Mhm.
by 2007, we were in big trouble with the mortgage. Obviously, the housing market had started to fall
Mhm.
apart,
Yeah.
and we were desperate to figure out how to make more money to try to save our house.
Mm.
Now, as a backstory to that, almost 10 years before that, I had heard about a guy making money online.
Mhm.
And we were nonprofit people, we were in ministry, but this guy, in 1998, I heard about this guy. He basically needed some part-time help, and I was trying to find a third job,
Okay.
actually, on top of two
A
jobs.
third
I
job.
needed
Oh
a
my
third job.
gosh.
And so at our Bible study, somebody said, you should talk to this guy. And
Yeah.
he makes $1,000 a day on the internet. And this is 1998.
Wow.
And I
That's
was
still
like,
impressive now.
I know. I
Yeah.
was like, who is this? What does he do? What is his deal? And he basically started one of the very first online traffic schools. And so I talked to him, and he needed somebody for like 2 hours a week. So rather than work for him, I decided to get a job at night at Kinko's, which is now, I guess, the FedEx store or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and make photocopies for people, and which was clearly the stupidest mistake, uh, one of my many, many mistakes. But hearing his story, that it was possible to make $1,000 a day on the internet just for 10 years, that rattled around in my brain. You know,
Mm.
every time we needed more money, had to use a credit card, couldn't go on a good vacation. Every time I, didn't get a good raise, had a problem with my boss. That just stuck in my mind. So here we were in 2006, 2007, and we needed to make more money. And so we started to try to figure out what could we possibly do. And so we started to look into different things. But I had gotten Dave Espino's TV info product, how to make money on eBay or whatever. Never knew how, I just couldn't, I didn't have a product. I just, for 10 years, I just didn't know what to sell. And so long story short, Cinnamon was super good at making doll clothes. Like she would make, Hannah Montana was really popular at the time. She would make identical copies of like Hannah Montana's outfits for dolls and for our daughters. And the Brownie Troop moms and the other moms in town started to say, where did you get that? And when we were in this crisis, we just didn't have any other strategies. We didn't know what else to possibly sell. So I said to Cinnamon, maybe we could sell this stuff on eBay. And that started us on the journey of being online sellers, the winter of 2007 and 2008.
And you got the idea because all the Brownie Troop moms were saying, hey, those are awesome. Make them for us.
The brownies.
Guys, that's an awesome strategy. Are people coming up to you asking you questions? Are they saying that, man, you have the best chili recipe, the best salsa recipe, whatever it is? That is awesome feedback. So you may not have an audience right now or a bunch of customers, but do you have something that you're known for that could be a business for you?
And so our goal was $1,000 a month, and we started selling in eBay. I did the marketing and the brand stuff and the listings, and Cinnamon would make the items, of course. And so we got good at it, and so we started making $1,000 a month, but it was obviously a non-scalable business model. She would sew these things, and I would hit relist. And she was like, stop, you're killing me. I'm sewing till midnight. I was like, we have to hit our goal,
Faster.
Ultimately, she got super burned out. We ended up losing our house. And it was a super desperate, just sad situation. 2009, we basically moved back to the Seattle area. It was super depressing. Our kids, it was just a sad story. But we had this eBay thing happening. And so we took the summer of 2009 off in a way and just asked the question, is there a version of this we could reimagine? Where it is more scalable. And what we transitioned into was her publishing her designs as PDF documents for seamstresses, so you could sew the items yourself. And we started marketing those. The first month, September 2009, we sold like 11 copies and gave away like 250 copies for free. But it immediately started to scale. We just really realized how well it was going to work over the next few months, over that winter. And it just took off. And we started to have other people ask us if we would sell their doll clothes patterns. We ultimately created a marketplace called Pixie Fair in summer of 2013. And today you can go check it out. It's one of the top 1% Shopify sites on the planet. Last year we averaged 60 to 70,000 transactions a month.
Wow.
And so we've sold millions and millions of dollars now of that category. So our current business model is digitally downloaded patterns. We have a catalog of about 2,600 of them from about 100 designers. We have online courses like how to install a zipper, how to do buttons, stuff like that. And then we have a membership program called Sewing with Cinnamon. So we have 3 revenue streams that are all digitally delivered and scalable. And it's totally changed our life. I was able to retire from the 9-to-5 in 2014, January 1st. And we've spent a growing amount of time with our charity, which is something we started in 2010, which we're super passionate about.
Guys, we'll chat about that. That's an awesome charity.
So that's sort of the long and the short of it.
Man, okay, so we got like 50 seconds left in this segment, and I don't want to, there's no way to dig into this in that amount of time, but I want to have you talk about that decision to publish those patterns, because I know that maybe you knew, that's exactly where you needed to go. But I'm sure there's part of you that was like, or maybe cinema, like, hey, you know what? I'm creating my competition, or I'm giving these patterns to my competition essentially, and that could destroy my business. So I want to talk about that in the next segment, because
Sure.
that's the way you ended up scaling and turned into so many other really cool things for you guys. So
Yeah.
that is awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, this is Streams of Income Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. Grab my book, Streams of Income, at streamsofincomeradio.com. We'll be back with more of Jason Miles in the next segment. Guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income Radio Show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. We're chatting with my friend, Jason Miles, who lives in the Seattle area. Man, we covered a lot of stuff in the first segment. He went over his story, and it's so powerful. I say that because that's the name of his charity, which we'll talk about that as well, how they went from losing their home to now having 3 online income streams just within the sewing niche. And Jason's turned that into so many other things. He's an author, creates courses, shows people how to have a Shopify site. Their platform, Pixie Fair, is in the top 1% of all Shopify sites. So if you guys are thinking about starting your own website, this is an episode for you to listen to, because he knows how to do it, how to be how to have an awesome website, how to use the Shopify platform, how to drive traffic to it, and all of that. So Jason, let's dig back to in your first segment. You mentioned that you guys were selling doll clothes patterns that Cinnamon was personally sewing and putting them up on eBay one by one.
Yep.
Definitely not something that you can scale unless you get a bunch of other Cinnamons or people that can sew for you.
Right.
You decided not to do that. Instead, you decided to take the patterns that she was using and sell those. Which, for guys, if you're thinking about, you have a business model where you're doing something that's kind of one by one, maybe you make handcrafted wooden pins or something. You're doing that one by one. It's really hard to scale that type of business unless you get help. It'd be the equivalent of showing people how you do it. And so that might have been a struggle for you. Tell us about that decision and how you ultimately ended up deciding to go that route.
Yeah. No, it's something we spent a lot of time thinking about. And I think that one of the things that we really tried to think about was what is an opportunity online that's a long-term, what you might call defensible opportunity. And so, I mean, my background for the nonprofit world was in fundraising and marketing. So, I spend a lot of my time thinking about the marketing questions. And so one of the things we wondered about was, what could we be the best in the world at and dominate in such a way that it created what Warren Buffett calls a castle with an unbreachable moat. And, so our long-term goal was to find a niche that was so small that everyone else was overlooking it, but was big enough for us to dominate it.
Oh, that's huge.
Given who we were. And that was the long-term goal. And I would encourage everyone who is thinking about this stuff to really understand the power of the size of the internet, how many billions of people are online together, and what that means for product segments and niches within niches within niches. And I would just suggest to you that if you're thinking about launching a brand, if you say to people what niche it's in and they laugh because they think it's so small, you're probably on the right track. And if they say to you, wow, that sounds really like a great opportunity, it's probably too big of an opportunity for you to accomplish. And there's some real magic in thinking about where is a corner of the internet that you can, a customer base that's underserved that you can serve.
Wow.
And so we spent time thinking through that. And obviously digital products are infinitely superior to physical products for a whole host of reasons. And we could go deep into that topic. So digital is way better than physical, but it's also about the competition.
Yeah.
And what else is out there, and whether you could actually create something that's not knockoffable, and that can't be easily copied by other people. And that's what we spent the most time thinking about.
Sure. Man, there's so much we can unpack there that you just mentioned. My goodness, that's a whole other episode. But so you talked about a topic that when you talk to somebody about it, they laugh because they think it's something they never heard of, or maybe it's
Yeah.
too small. That's probably the right one.
Yeah.
So you could have tried to become the best sewers in all the world, right?
Yeah.
That's probably, that'd be the largest, that's the
Right.
biggest one of your niche is
Well, or
sewing in general.
toy product company. I mean,
Toy products. Yeah.
really the doll clothes is in the toy category.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, wow.
That means I would have tried to compete with Mattel. And I
Right.
can tell you one thing I know about the Mattel and Hasbro's of the world.
Uh-huh.
Those guys are brutal.
Mm.
They will destroy you. And for real. I mean, they will sue you out of existence, or they'll compete with you out of existence. Those guys do not mess around. So I want none of that, man.
Right. Right.
I got to find someplace to hide on the internet.
Exactly.
That I can find a defensible position. That's what you're
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah. Yet you found a niche that in Pixie Fair, you've 50 to 70,000 transactions in a month.
Every month,
Every
all year
month.
long. Yeah.
That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, we're close to about 4 million digitally downloaded patterns to the site. I haven't added it up in a few months, but yeah.
My goodness. Guys, just let that sink in for a second. Thinking about how they were doing it one by one. And now literally they're making money while they sleep. On another episode, I talked about Swiss dollars.
I love that.
While I sleep soundly. I got that from our buddy Dan Miller. He
I've
probably got
never
it from
heard
somebody else.
Never heard that before. When I heard you say Swiss dollars, I was like, what is that? And then you explained it. I was like, I love that.
Sales while I sleep soundly. And so that's not obviously, doing patterns and making them one by one and putting them on eBay.
Yeah.
Guys, that's an awesome business model. And if that's where you're at, keep doing it. But there's going to be a point to where you can't do anymore. You hit a ceiling income wise because you don't have any more time.
That's right.
And so look at this model as a potential option for you. Could you sell your secret recipe for cookies or whatever it is? And, you become the expert cookie person in the world, and or expert chocolate chip cookie, or maybe it's gluten-free chocolate chip cookie, whatever it is, get smaller and smaller in your niche.
Yeah.
And until people are thinking, wow, that's crazy, that you probably found the right one, because there are people that are like you that want to, that love the exact same thing that you do. And there are enough of them to build a serious business by serving that audience.
That's
wow.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So you got Pixie Fair. What did you do? So you took the sewing niche and turned it into a whole platform. And guys, what's so cool about this too is that you have a platform for other people who were like Cinnamon, who are busting out onesies and twosies, and you've created an opportunity for them to make extra money. We could even talk about that, how that platform has helped, moms and grandmas who love to sew and just know something, they do a good job, and allows them an opportunity to sell their products.
Yeah. A platform play is an interesting twist, because at first glance, it's like, well, I'm helping all my competitors, and it's true. But the question is, would you rather be in charge of the platform or have someone else be in charge of the platform?
Right.
And if you can be in charge of a platform, it's a higher level of positioning than just being a participant in a market. So if there's a real different fragmented market, and you can create something that is an aggregated marketplace, that's a huge opportunity. Silicon Valley is full of people looking for marketplaces as investment opportunities. And things like, of course, Airbnb is the best example recently, where, somebody aggregated something that was not there before, and made a huge business out of it. Now, you can do that in a very, very tiny niche and still do well with it. So that's an interesting thing to think through. But at first glance, it seems like helping your competitors, because you are.
Yeah, but imagine it before, like if I was going to sew stuff and try to compete against you guys, and so my own doll clothes. Well, I could only do one at a time, and you're not going to get any piece of that from me. You're not going to get a piece of my sales. But now, owning the platform, you are like the Amazon for the sewing niche, and you get a piece of all those sales. And that's
what'll really blow your mind is we're the Amazon for the doll clothes patterns.
Wow.
There are other categories just adjacent to us, like amigurumi, which is crocheted little animals. Have you seen those for Callan, maybe, like those little cute animals?
I have seen
We don't own that niche. That's a different niche.
Wow.
So these things that you think as an outside observer are the same, there is layer after layer of granularity. And that's my whole point. is
Mm.
you want to find one of those slivers of
Mm.
a granular topic that has enough customers, but is not
Wow.
being served
We got a
well.
minute and a half left. Do you think you can tell me how would somebody narrow that down?
Yeah. Well, the first thing to do is, of course, primary research. And, your guys is, I always refer people to Private Label the Easy Way
Mm-hmm.
as the first look on Amazon, or you
Mm-hmm.
can go look on Etsy, look on Craigslist, look on eBay, and start to understand what categories exist,
Uh-huh.
and then what subcategories exist. And in the
Mm.
big categories, you see this happening by huge brands. Like, go look at the yogurt aisle.
Mm-hmm.
First there was yogurt,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was like all these derivative styles of
Sure.
yogurt, Greek yogurt, and
Yep.
then there's, I'm not a big yogurt eater, but there's all these sub niches.
Yeah.
And the reality is there are many, many categories where no one has done that
Mm.
work. The
Mm.
customers are there.
Yeah.
There's a customer that is a unique situation in many,
Yeah.
many categories. It's not being served uniquely.
Mm.
And so that's the thing to start to look at. And of course, the classic book, Al Ries and Jack Trout, is Marketing Warfare.
Okay.
And that book really goes into the whole concept of categorization of products and how to create, and their whole goal, the whole thing, which kind of gets to my prior comment, is find a niche that you can dominate and be the leader in. Yeah.
Awesome stuff, guys. We'll be right back with more. Jason Miles. Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger, and we're in the midst of a fascinating discussion with Jason Miles about his platform and how he chose a niche and how they were selling doll clothes one by one on eBay and made the decision to sell their patterns, which you might think, oh my gosh, you're helping your competition. And they were, but guys, it was brilliant because now they get a piece. They have their own platform now, and they get a piece of every sale on their platform. And they have 50 to 70,000 transactions a month on this platform that they created. It's called Pixie Fair, and there'll be a link in the show notes on this. So Jason, let's talk about platforms. And I know I teach people how to sell on Amazon, and
Sure.
Amazon's a great place to find customers. Why didn't you just start selling them there?
Yeah. It's a great question. So the short answer is we were trying to sell downloadable PDF documents,
Mm-hmm.
and there was no platform that would serve
Yeah,
those.
you can't do that on Amazon, can you?
No, And so we were originally on eBay and with the physical items, the auctions.
Mm-hmm.
And once we had the idea of doing the digitally downloaded patterns, we were on our own.
Mm.
There was no marketplace that would enable that easily. And so we basically said, well, how do we do this? And we hotwired together a WordPress site with a shopping cart that we found a shopping cart tool that would actually spit out a PDF once when people paid.
Okay.
And so for the first year, we just built our own site on WordPress. And if Amazon would have done what we needed, we probably would have said yeah, or even eBay.
Sure.
But these sites don't enable that. So we were sort of out in the wilderness. And we struggled really, to be honest, from 2009 until 2013 with a WordPress-based solution.
Okay.
And then when Shopify came along, it was just like, it was basically like somebody rolled up with a Rolls Royce or Mercedes Benz in our driveway and handed us the keys. That's how we felt. This is like, this is amazing. And honestly, we've never looked back. Shopify has been, our platform of choice ever since then. And we love it. I created a course winning on Shopify, and I'm super blessed. It's the #1 course on Udemy for e-commerce selling. It's been sort of installed there for the last 2.5 years. We've had 25,000 students now in total that have gone through the Udemy courses. But as we coach people now, I do coaching one-on-one, and we have a membership group. I always say to people, look, if there's a marketplace that you can learn something from, make initial sales on, test product ideas, you should definitely do that. You should use Amazon. But the thing about it is, there are things that are not on Amazon.
Right.
Like, we think Amazon's the everything store. Well, I can tell you one thing: it's not the PDF digital downloads for doll clothes.
That's right.
Because that's Pixie Fair. And so I think it's important to look at the niche or the topic and ask yourself, is Amazon serving these customers well? Is there a reason they're not? Does that mean there's an opportunity, or is there another site that is? And really start to understand where are the customers, how are they being served, what do the marketplaces do or not do? And there's, you know, to use Jim Cockrum and Brett Bartlett's term, there's some golden gaps there.
Yeah.
In the between the marketplaces and what customers may or may not be able to get.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I think that was a big lesson for us. We still do auctions occasionally on eBay. We've never been deep into Amazon. People have encouraged us to do that, and we will someday. We'll get ourselves onto Amazon, but you know, we're rolling on Shopify.
You don't need to right now.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
things are going well.
Yeah,
man. So talk to that seller. Okay, so you obviously know Shopify really well, and you preach having your own customers. Like Amazon sellers, those customers are not theirs. Those are Amazon's customers. And thankfully Amazon exists because I've been able to build a business from it, and hundreds of other people that you and I know, thousands that you and I know, have done the same thing. And so Amazon's been a huge blessing. But you need to not have all your eggs there. So let's talk about that, and how what somebody can do, what they should be doing, what type of person, what type of seller should be looking that direction, and having their own site essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I think the question that really is the highest level question for this topic is, do you have a sales channel strategy? And are you looking at these places, Amazon, eBay, you know, Poshmark, Etsy, Craigslist, your own Shopify site? Are you looking at them as sales channels? And do you have a sales channel strategy that's really ideal? And so some businesses, it's the smartest thing to only sell on your own site. Some businesses, it's the smartest thing to have an omni-channel, they call it omni-channel sales strategy, where you're on all those platforms. And so it's unique for every situation. But I think the most important thing is you need to think through why, like what is the best strategy for me and my product and my customers. And so I'm not anti-Amazon in any means, but as you mentioned, there's limitations to what happens when you sell on Amazon. There's fees, and that, you know, they control the customer, that kind of stuff, and they control your account. And so the question is, how do you best position yourself for strength through all of the sales channels? And that's really, I think, what we work with a lot of our coaching clients on. You know, a lot of them come from Amazon and they want to set up a Shopify site, or they've got Amazon and eBay going and they want a Shopify site. Walmart, of course, is coming on super strong. We have clients who we've you know, worked with who are selling on Walmart.
Do you think a person who is wants to set up their own site needs to be more of a private label seller, or do you think there's other models that can work with having their own website?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think you have to have a reason to have a website for the customer's point of view. Why does the site exist? And so, you know, it is an ideal use case for a private label seller or a brand builder, for sure, because people expect a brand to have their own site. And so then you've got a lot of opportunity there. The Shopify sites that don't work, that I've seen not work, and I've worked with people who have tried to do this and it doesn't work, are the ones where it's like the 5 and dime store. Where it's like, we sell everything. Now, it can work if you're we sell everything in a specific vertical. Like, so we've got one client who's in the woodworking tools, is a solid 8-figure seller, and multi-million-dollar a year business, just crushing it. But it's one vertical. You know, and so so that kind of approach. But if it's butter and steak knives and whatever,
Mac
Christmas
MacBook
ornaments,
Pros, or
those sites, that there's
because Amazon's that essentially. That's what Amazon is.
Who wants to compete with Amazon? Exactly. Right.
Okay, cool. I know, and we got about 2 minutes and 45 seconds left in this segment. We want to save the last one to talk about brand building, but you're a multi-time author. I know one of your major books is Instagram Power. You just relaunched that. Let's talk about that book and
Sure.
how you got started writing and all that.
Yeah. So sure, happy to talk about those. Yeah, Instagram Power second edition is doing really, really well. So I'm super grateful for that. The thing is that I always had writing as sort of my primary job skill
Mm-hmm.
set.
Yeah,
I
that's your
my
sweet
first
spot. You were good at it.
I was always I wanted to be a writer. I felt like it was always something I leaned towards.
Mm-hmm.
My first real career job was as a compensation analyst, and I would write job descriptions all day long.
Okay. Oh wow.
So uh, when when we started our own business, just as a side project, I started blogging about Pinterest,
Mm-hmm.
and you can go still check out the blog. It's so ugly, but it was marketing on
Probably
Pinterest.com.
still getting traffic.
It does, yeah. Marketing on Pinterest.com. And I started blogging about what we were doing on Pinterest. And long story short, I got a book offer like 2 weeks after I started the blog.
Wow.
Because I had blogged like 25 articles in 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And back in 2011, no one was talking about marketing on Pinterest. And so people in traditional publishers were looking for authors. So I got a book deal with McGraw-Hill.
That's
That led
awesome.
to a 3-book deal. Of those 3 books, Pinterest Power, YouTube Marketing Power, and Instagram Power, the Instagram book has really been the biggest and
Yeah.
blown up. It's doing really, really well. It's been the top 3 or 4 in its category on Amazon.
Mm.
And it just got put in a big advertisement by 1-800 CEO Reads,
Oh, cool.
which is super cool. I learned that yesterday.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah. So
Congratulations.
good things are happening with that book. It already earned out, which is a author term for
Okay.
how much I made versus the advance and all that stuff. So it's
Love
doing
it.
well, and it's fun. It's a good book. I think it does well for helping people understand Instagram as a marketing opportunity.
Awesome. Guys, grab that book. There'll be a link in the show notes. It's called Instagram Power. He also has a masterclass on Instagram influencers. That's a hot topic. I've talked to one already in this show. Just fun how you can take a brand and find these micro influencers, people with not
Yep.
millions of followers, but thousands, and do really well with it. So one more episode, one more segment with Jason coming right up after this break. Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. You can get my book, Streams of Income, for free at streamsofincomeradio.com. Also, all the show notes. We've mentioned a lot of links already in this show here with Jason. And if there's something that jumps out at you, you want to grab his book, Instagram Power, or you want to check out their platform for doll clothes called Pixie Fair, you can see that link in the show notes, along with all of the other recordings of all the other episodes we've had on this show so far. This is episode number 11. So very cool to have Jason as one of my first ones. So we're talking about his book, Instagram Power, and he's also got a brand new book coming out about brand building. He is just the master at taking an e-commerce product that you have and building a brand around that and taking it off Amazon, off of eBay, and making it your own. And so you've come out with what's called a new brand builders master class. So it's talk
Yeah.
about brand building. What is it and what that class is all about, and your new book too.
Yeah. So happy to do it. Yeah, I've been working on a new book. We started doing, my business partner and I, his name's Kyle Hamer. We do e-commerce coaching together.
Uh-huh.
He's a top Amazon seller, and I'm a Shopify guy. And so together we work with people in that way. And we've used a framework now for several years. And we decided it was time to put it out as a book. So I felt like it was a good project for a book. And so the book, the working title, I think it's going to be the final title, is The New Brand Builders. We just actually are signed up and signed a deal with Morgan James.
Nice.
So it'll be coming out, but we've got like 3 or 4 months before it comes out. And then, probably it will be in the bookstores this fall.
Okay.
And so we thought what we would do is do a masterclass version of it.
Yeah.
Where we have a free Facebook group and we go through some of the content of the book just to get people engaged, get them oriented towards it, get their feedback. And so, yeah, we're going to kick that off on November 4th. So 2019. So if you're hearing this
Perfect.
10 years from now, sorry you missed it. But if it's not
You're
too
probably
late,
on to bigger and better things if we're in 2029.
if it's not too late, feel free to jump in. It's
That's right.
totally free, and we're going to teach through the chapters of the book, the topics. And the subtitle of the masterclass is Unlocking the 8 Strategic Capabilities that Allow E-commerce Sellers to Build Powerful Online Brands.
Mm.
That's a long subtitle, but Unlocking the 8 Strategic Capabilities that Allow E-commerce Sellers to Build Powerful Online Brands. I actually mentioned one of them to you already, which it sounded like resonated with you, which was number 1, a long-term goal to dominate a niche, creating an economic castle surrounded by an unbreachable moat. That's the first capability we encourage people to work on. And it's a goal setting focus capability, but you get the idea. So that's one. The second one that I'll mention is a powerful and vibrant brand that creates deep joy in the heart and mind of the ideal customer.
Oh, wow.
A powerful and vibrant brand. And so these are the we have 8 of these, and these are the things that we've worked with our e-commerce coaching clients, and they compound on each other. You know, I mean, if you've got a clear goal to focus on a specific niche, and then you've got the capability to build a powerful and vibrant brand, then you're really starting to lean into a very, very solid e-commerce opportunity. And I'll just say in general, I mean, my basic thesis for this book is opportunities to sell online are compounding at an exponential rate. They're not disappearing. And I really believe it's true that, you know, the latest data still has e-commerce as a portion of retail only like 9.3%. It's still a very small segment. You know, people like my mom and you know, our parents, there's so many people on the planet right now who will not buy online.
Yeah, they don't trust the process or don't want their credit card on some site. Yeah.
And we're 25 years into the opportunity to buy and sell online.
Yeah.
And what I like to propose to people is, you know, it's a false idea that it's like the gold rush. The gold rush was over in like 10 years or whatever. California gold rush. What's more appropriate analogy is that it's like the discovery of the new world. Now I know, like, okay, the you know, native peoples were here but you know what I mean, like the 1985 version of the new world, you know, right. With no disrespect to anyone, but you get my idea. Like, you know, the idea that the Americas are only 25 years old in terms of their development and that kind of thing, with no disrespect again.
Sure.
That idea, I think, is more correct as of an analogy to where we're at with the internet. And Jeff Bezos calls it being in day one. He forces Amazon as a company to act as if they're in day one.
That's incredible.
I think he's right, man. And I think the bigger the opportunity gets, the more these niches are available to e-commerce sellers. They're just sitting there. There are categories just sitting there that no one has aggregated and served well yet with a powerful brand. And that's the thesis of this book, is that the opportunity is expanding, not shrinking.
That's awesome. Great quote. How would somebody, do you have a site where they can go to get into that masterclass?
Yeah. So we're going to definitely have it be published through all our social accounts. It'll be on winningonshopify.com, a link to it as well. You might just hit thenewbrandbuilders.com and see if it's live. But we will have that site up at some point as well. I'll have the links to it. It's a free masterclass. We're going to run it for the first time, and then we're going to do it again in the future. But we're really excited to have people go through the 8 capabilities with us just to learn about them. And then when the book comes out, it's going to really be 65,000 words, a deep dive into each one of these 8 capabilities. I love it. You know. So
that's awesome. So I have my book, Streams of Income, is really short, and Jason's, everything he ever does is like really thick. It's like this is like the kindergarten version, and everything he puts out is like college level work. It's the way it is. But I feel like and it's back to what you talked about with niches. I know who my audience is, and this works really well with them.
Yep.
And your person is more advanced as far as they're more advanced in their business when they come
Yep.
to you. And like what Jenny and I do in the private label group, I feel like we do a really good job of serving those folks who are brand new with private label, and
Yep.
we want them to graduate. We want them to build a brand and then be like, you know what, we need something else, and it's something that Jenny and I can't give them right now, and so probably won't ever. We'd rather just partner with you and Kyle and say, here's a person, they've graduated our course, you take them and take them to the next level. And so it works really well.
Absolutely.
Who's a person that's ready for that? Like, think about I have a lot of e-commerce sellers in my audience. Who would be the perfect person in your mind that would be good for this masterclass?
I think it's someone who has sold online, but is looking for a business model that's sustainable for the long term, and is willing to go through the process of focusing on a niche, specific, category. And so I think a background in online selling helps a lot. Having experienced Amazon or eBay or other platforms is a tremendous help.
Yeah.
But then the willingness to go through that exercise to say, okay, I'm going to narrow things down. I'm going to find my ideal customer, and I'm going to serve them with excellence, and I'm going to create an opportunity for myself that is bulletproof, that cannot be easily taken away from me. And I think it's a hunger for that. It's a hunger for saying, I'm tired of having random models. I want a long-term model, because I can tell you, of all the people we work with, the people who do the best have clarified a brand that serves a customer, and they've built a business around that.
Love it. So true. We got a minute and a half left. Talk about So Powerful real quick.
Sure. Yeah. Well, my background, my wife and I's background was charity work. And we, in 2010, set up a 501c3, charity in Washington State, because we were helping a small group in Lusaka, Zambia. And we were helping them. You already heard my story that we had lost our house. We had this little business going, and our heart just, of course, turned towards, who can we help? And God just totally put this small group on our heart. And so it's a sewing cooperative in Lusaka. We now have a soap cooperative as well, and a farm. The core work is called SoPowerful.org, and we create school uniforms. We also create reusable feminine hygiene pad product. And the charity is just blown up. Baby Lock is promoting us right now as their fall charity of choice. And they're a big sewing machine company. And we've just had a huge kind of couple years of blessing.
Love it.
And people are joining the cause. And you can find out more at SoPowerful.org.
Yeah, and you guys are going to trade shows just with under the name of So Powerful.
That's right. Yeah, we found that the quilts and sewing shows prospects are wonderful prospects for So Powerful. So we go there with a booth, and we invite people to join us.
That's awesome. Guys, this has been awesome. Thanks for joining me, Jason. Really appreciate your time today. Don't forget, you can get my book, Streams of Income, for free at streamsofincomeradio.com. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks so much.